Well, now we've created our first index page, although it doesn't have any content, and we would be ready for content, but before we do that, we really need a means of navigation. So the first thing we're going to do is create a navigation header or navigation bar across the top and then a smaller one across the bottom. To do that, the first thing we want to do is create a table. So across the top you'll see a lot of our options, and one of them is table. Click on table and insert table. Now it gives us a number of options. For now, because it's a single bar, all we need is one row, so we'll click down to one row. Columns. Well, we're going to have 4 different navigation areas, so we're going to have 4 columns. So we have 4 columns now, and we want the navigation bar or navigation tool to be in the center. So under a layout, we have alignment. We're going to go from default to center. The rest of this we don't really need to mess with now. As you get more and more comfortable with what you're doing, you might want to change some of these settings. But for now, we're good. Click OK. Now, across the top, you see we have a table with 4 cells. Each cell is going to have a link in it. The first one we'll create will be home, H-O-M-E. To go to the next one, you hit tab. The next one will be homework, tab, links, tab to the last one, and the final one will be web quest. Those will be our 4 links. Now you notice that they probably don't look the way you want them to just yet. That's easy to fix. First thing we want to do is highlight all 4. Now across the top here, you'll notice that a lot of the tools look very much like those in Word. We want each of these to be centered in their particular cell. They're each now centered. If you want to change the font, and I know I do, we highlight them again, and I'm going to change the font to, up in here, just like in Word. I tend to like Comic Sans. That's my personal preference. For the size, we're going to go a little larger. I like to go with at least about 18 point across the top. It's an eye catcher. I'm sorry, let's go a little bigger than that. Let's go to 24 point. And we're going to make it bold. Again, these look very much like they do in Word. So you've got your 4 potential links. They're not links yet. We're going to turn them into links fairly simply. Each one needs to be separate, so the first one we want to highlight is that of the home page. So highlight just home. Now we're going to insert a hyperlink. Hyperlink means where it goes in the web. So insert. Click on insert. Scroll down to hyperlink. Now interestingly, you see there's a shortcut key. Control K. Right here is your shortcut for hyperlink. Click on hyperlink and a dialog box opens. Now what is the name of our home page? Remember, this isn't the page name per se. This is the file name. The World Wide Web likes file names. And our file name, if you recall, is index.html. Nothing else really here matters at the moment. It's very important stuff, but for right now the default settings are fine. So click OK. Now, what just happened? Click, you notice that the appearance of home has changed. It has now become a hyperlink. If you scroll over it, it gives you an indication that it is now a hyperlink. All right, let's move on. We're going to create a hyperlink for homework. So highlight that. If you recall, there was a shortcut. Do you remember what that was? Control K opens up our hyperlink box. Our cursor is already blinking under address, and our address for this is going to be homework.html. Click on OK. It is now a hyperlink. Let's do the next one. Links. My shortcut, I love shortcuts. address, links.html. Okay, that's now a hyperlink. WebQuest. Control K is our shortcut again, and we're going to call this webquest.html. You might notice I've used all lowercase in the address. That's just for consistency. Okay, we have now created a navigation tool or navigation bar. Now, many times you'll have a scrollable page. If it's a long page where you can't see the bottom at the same time as the top, people will scroll down and they're going to want to have links at the bottom of the page as well. So what we want to do is create another navigation bar just like this one at the bottom. So highlight the entire table. You can either right click or click on edit. Click on copy. Notice how much this looks just like Word. Now we just copied that. What we want to do now is insert another one below. Hit the enter key several times. And now hit edit, paste. We've created another navigation bar. These two are absolutely identical save for their location. That's too big. At the bottom you tend to like a smaller navigation bar. So highlight this. Up here we can leave our font the same, but what we'd like to do is change our size. We're going to go to the smallest size. Now you have another navigation link at the bottom. We can change the size of that later if we'd like, but for now we'll leave it. Before we move on, we're going to be prepared to, our next step that is going to be to create a number of other pages that look just like this one, and we've already created the links for those pages here.